Welcome back to the Play on Footy channel. Today I'll be looking at my AFL Fantasy in preparation for round one. Tell me what you guys think, and let's start with the backline. The reason I went with Blakey is that he's that sort of hybrid defender, and I seen him on that game on the weekend. He really has good run off halfback and really knows how to utilize the ball, and he's just really agile, the lizard. That's the reason why I picked him. My other selection was Jaden Hunt. So the reason I selected Jaden Hunt was that he's probably the only fit Eagle. When I say fit, he's the one that doesn't scare me to get injured, touch wood. Someone like Yo, I just don't think he's going to make a bit of a comeback, but he's not what he used to be. So I'm happy to pay a little bit more to get Jaden. Zach Williams was one that I chucked in before the game so the Carlton versus Brisbane game, and hearing him in the news that he was coming back after 2 years on the sidelines, I was like, oh look, Zach Williams, he used to play for GWS, he's a pretty good player. So I chucked him in the team, and the conditions probably didn't suit him, but I was happy to obviously put him in the team. I'm going to keep him there for obviously round one. I think he has a lot of upside, definitely. I've also gone with Braden Maynard. Pure and simple, he's probably one of the best Collingwood defenders, and I had to put a Collingwood player in there. I sort of steered away from the Dacos brothers, I've gone with Maynard just because I think he sort of commands the presence down back and sort of orders people around, which is good. Plus not having to pay a premium like the Dacos brothers just to get them in the team. Last two, Lachie Whitfield and Will Powell. Went with Lachie because of his tremendous game. He got 130-something AFL fantasy points on the weekend against Collingwood. And I just think he's just a fantastic player. Even last year, I thought that as well. And then I went with Will Powell to put him in the team, and has really good upside, I believe, and plenty of run off halfback as well. Gone with in the midfield, Lazaro. I think he's got a good entry point to get him into the team, and he's got a lot of upside as a youngster. And seeing him in the Amy Community game, preseason game, he was pretty phenomenal. Uses the ball well, got great speed. My other pick was obviously Harley Reid. I think he's got a lot of upside. I've chucked him in the middle because I think that's where he's going to start for round one for the Eagles. So I think that would be the more likely choice. And I think, even though he can go forward, I think he suits the midfield, and especially with Yo probably being used down back for round one. I've just gone for Reid in the centre. Gone with John Newcomb. I paid a lot of, money for him, but I feel like he's gonna really be pushing Hawthorn a lot, and under Sam Mitchell, I think he's been, probably coached well enough to get really high CBAs as well. So I've got him in the team. I got Roberts from Sydney, mainly because he's such a low entry point, but he got like 90 AFL fantasy points in the game that was just played on the weekend. So I feel like he's got a huge upside and a lot of potential. My next pick is M. Rao. I think he did really well on the weekend. I think, when I say really well, he did fantastically well this season, especially had a bit of interrupted injury last season that kept him off, but he's definitely the one to watch this season. Just watch this space. There's James Jordan for Sydney. He made the swap from Melbourne to Sydney, and I think he's slotting him pretty well. Obviously they've got Luke Parker out, they've got that sort of structure where he can really slot in and be quite dangerous at times. And he's only had the one game, but I can definitely see he's going to improve and be a pivotal part for the Swans going forward. My next one is Calamar from Brisbane Lions. Last year he got about a 50.9 average in AFL fantasy, and then he's come out basically the game against Carlton and got 76. So I think there's huge upside with him. He's not really that much. He's about 446,000. So I think if you can get him into your team, I think he's going to be a pivotal part for Lions, especially with Kitty Coleman out. He's going to be working that midfield pretty well. For starters, and whether or not they bring in Devon Robertson into Brisbane now that Kitty Coleman's out, who knows? But I think he's definitely a lock for your midfield. Last but not least, Ruben Ginbey. Yes, he did suffer a concussion in the Amy Community Series, but I think he'll definitely bounce back. He's put on a huge amount of size over the preseason, so he's going to be a bit of a bull like Matty Rao, and I think definitely watch his space. He's going to be hungry around the contest, so I think he'll be definitely mounting those CBAs over time pretty quickly. So definitely he's a lock for my fantasy. In the forward, I've got Isaac Heaney. He had a massive game the weekend just gone. So yeah, he's definitely a lock. I think, you know, his trajectory over a period has been on the up as well. So yeah, I think he'll be the he'll be the go-to man. Joel Amadi, I thought before the game he might have been, you know, the one to put in the team, but yeah, he's definitely not. He's not. People say he's the next Buddy, but I just don't think he's going to really, you know, live up to the hype, so to speak. So I've definitely put Heaney. He is obviously 722,000. He's a lot to part with, but I think you'll definitely see pretty positive returns from him. Ben King's the next one. I really liked what I saw in the game against Richmond, and I think, you know, under Dimmer, I think he's going to be the one to really look for as a forward option. You know, he's out of contract by the end of this year, so whether or not he stays in the Gold Coast is yet to be seen. But yeah, his trajectory, he got 45.5 from 20 games last year. So I think this year coming out and getting a 79 and kicking 5, which was a career high, I think, you know, is an easy lock for your forward line. So definitely have him in there. The next one I've gone with Darcy Wilson. The Saints' first draft selection has taken no time to impress, putting on a show at the Community Series. So yeah, he controls the wing against the Roos, collecting 24 possessions. That was in the community game. So he took about 10 marks as well, and he scored an impressive 97 off that. So yeah, I think, you know, Darcy Wilson would definitely be a lock for your forward line. He's pretty low considering I think he's like 200 and something thousand. So yeah, definitely get him in your squad this time. Got B Daniels from GWS. I mean, he did an amazing job against Carlton. Probably one of the most dangerous small forwards I've seen, and puts pressure off Toby Green as well, because he's obviously more of in a leadership point of view this season. But yeah, I really like Brent Daniels. I think he's really got, you know, a little upside. And yeah, definitely chuck him in your forward line. He's pretty dangerous. I've got Jamara Uga-Hagan in the forward line as well. I think he's going to have a breakout year this season, and especially because he's out of contract by the end of this year from the Bullies. So whether or not he stays, but yeah, I definitely think he's going to have a breakout year, just like Ben King. So I've definitely locked those two key forwards in the forward line for my fantasy for sure. And last but not least, Alex Sexton. I think he's just really good value, and a lot of other sort of fantasy teams have recommended Alex Sexton. But from what I could see on the weekend, he really lived up to the hype. He got about 80, scored 80 in the AFL fantasy points. So yeah, he's definitely one to keep an eye on, and definitely keeping your team. He's definitely more on the mature side. I think he's nearing 30 or is 30, but he's definitely got a lot of experience. And being under Hardwick will know exactly what to do with him. So yeah, definitely have him in your team for sure. For rucks, I've gone with Grundy and I've gone with Darcy Cameron. So yeah, I've left out Gawn, but yeah, I just think those two rucks are very versatile and can put pressure up forward, which, you know, you want in a ruck sort of duo. So I've locked those guys in as well. In the interchange for defence, I've got Brady Hoff and I've got Ratugolea from Port Adelaide. So yeah, I think Ratugolea was pretty low priced, and, you know, coming from the Cats to Port, you know, he will definitely be helping out Leah, which he's nearing 30 as well. So Radigolea's got age on his side. He's about 25, and I think there's a huge upside with him, especially with him, you know, prowling the back line. In the game coming up against the Eagles, I doubt, you know, Port will have any defensive pressure down back. I think it'll be all up forward with their forwards, with Marshall and whatnot. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on Ratugolea, and Brady Hoff I think is going to be seeing a lot more of the ball, and I definitely rate him over McGovern. I think he's the next McGovern at Eagles, and, you know, obviously I just feel like he's a lot sort of less risk involved for him to get injured, so I picked Brady Hoff to come in as the second Eagle alongside Jaden Hunt for the back line. In the middle, I've got Riley Sanders from Western Bulldogs. I've got Devon Robinson from Lions. Now, Devon Robinson, you know, he played in the grand final and then he got left out of round one. So I don't know if he's a fringe player now, but I've definitely got him as a sort of a backup on the interchange from midfield, because he's definitely, you know, highly rated sort of midfielder. Yes, he may have had a bit of a quiet grand final, but, you know, I've definitely got him in there just for safekeeping. I got Luke Jackson on the bench for ruck. So yeah, I'm sort of trying to understand where I should place him, or I should just cut my losses and move on. But yeah, he's definitely on my bench. I got M. Roses from Gold Coast and C. Brown from GWS. They both had really great games on the weekend, and they're pretty low sort of tier players in terms of cost. So I reckon they've got a huge amount of upside. They both kicked a bag So yeah, I think definitely get them into your team, and yeah, definitely see a lot of upside from those players. And for my utility, I've got Harry Barnett just as a safekeeping, coming in at about 200 grand. But I think Harry Barnett will definitely be used at some point this year just to help out Bailey Williams, because yeah, obviously having their ruckman Matt Flynn out injured does not help the Eagles at all. So yeah, I've definitely got him on the side just for safekeeping. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.